Hello then folks, welcome and welcome back. I'm Pxy-STREAM and we are back again with this live stream on rigging some experiment attempts on the Pelvis rig. So on this cartoon character, like anime cartoon stuff, real similar. Like it's an original character and style from 2D drawing, right? So anyways, let's go to the point here. So as I was doing this the last live stream, so I've made partially some of the mapper bones that could indicate in a more easy way how far the mesh goes offset as we rotate the thigh. So this really isn't a lot, and I failed to visualize what I really wanted to do with that. And currently I think it might relate to some bendy bones that could go in that direction. They could use these bones as reference for some deforms, but this is very dangerous also because it implies lots of rotations, and so these could, in the case we use rotations, that is, but even probably it requires some rotation, so that at least these things we could have more of them. They are giving some reference, so this is not it's an interesting idea. We could do this on an extra mesh object, right? Or even, yeah, but I think this is much simpler because we already have an armature. They certainly don't have the shapes for good reference, but as we see here, the thigh at this part is mostly working fine. Maybe here this part is, they don't do nothing, they are not deformed bones, so maybe this is going a bit too let's see if I reset this bones pose. Let's see. So if I turn off here, okay, maybe this is because of, let's see, preserve volume, let's see, yeah, effects, of course, it's the wave paint, it's many things, it's the rest position, some things that I've done on the mesh here, so yeah, I cannot trust completely the results that I have here because I didn't finish to, you see here this looks bad, to retake the mesh here for optimal results. Like rigging is something, actually CG, but talking about rigging specifically, it's very, yes, there are things that are back and forth stuff, but usually rigging is very linear, like, and this is for me is a big dilemma because I have to go back because I'm always trying to find the best outcomes and I experiment a lot. Then I have lots of back and forth, but so we start with the great mesh, then we go to the next challenge and so forth, and this is, if we keep changing things that go before in the line of production, right, we have to redo lots of stuff that we solved before, because then they might become unsolved, and this is blind retakes, because the reason yeah, yeah, that doesn't ignore the need. So the thing is that I need to, I am able to perceive if the helper bone system that I'll be making is good or bad, or at least how good or how bad it is. Yes, it is possible to visualize. This is happening because I turned off these bone constraints. Yes. So yes, it is possible to have a clue if it is working or not, even if the results, the shapes are not the best as possible. Of course, this also means that we won't be able to certify 100% that it does everything I need, right? It's not like that. So, but an approximation that it is working, this is good enough already. So here, for example, this is a buttocks leverage bone. It's already, instead of using the simple transformation bone constraint that I have here, it takes the rotation of the thigh from 0, this position, to a negative 135, so that would be negative 180, that will be 90, that will be halfway, so 135 negative. So a little more than that maybe. And so this is all I need. The leg shouldn't go more than that. She's not a contortionist. And so, but if I needed to, I could add more negative value to that. So where am I? I need to go on the bone constraint. Okay, so right now I'm using yes, okay, I've enabled that. Maybe this is going too far unnecessarily, and maybe yeah, it's not going to the sideways. I've made it in a way that it doesn't do this. Maybe it's a mistake, but anyways, no, it's just this bone. All right, so so this bone rotates, which is the default for a fan bone. Yeah, that's the name of this technique. It has the same rotation of the type, it is parented to it, and it has a rotation on inverse with some data here, so some settings, and the influence is lesser, so it derotates the mesh of the joint, the one that, yeah. And maybe at this point I could get, maybe I should add this, because I think this could be this part of the mesh might be suffering a lot. So let's add this to the calculation of the fan bone. And more than that, I think it's risky, but we could try. This maybe smoothing out this is not a bad idea. Maybe at this point I should secure the deforms. Let's try taking, yeah, let's pick that. And so how do I do that? I need to, yeah, I could do a control inverse, but we'll pick this. Let's try to add this to the selection, right? Okay, this looks to be sufficient. It's not perfect, but that should be enough for what I'm trying to do here. So in this selection I can make a mask for wave painting for that bone. Let's use the screencast. Enable that. So hold on, let me check something here. All right, let's go back. So yeah, in principle, I didn't want this edge loop to be part of the to have that much influence, but maybe it's a good idea since I'm having some issues. Let's try to, yeah, it's sort of distorting, but this, maybe it's because, let's try this. We don't change the rotation, although we could. Maybe we could derotate more. For some reason the x-axis, this is, no, it's all axis. So what's the orientation of this bone? Yeah, it's totally tilted, it's rotated towards there. It's like the, oh, I see. So it's a, this is why this is, so this is due to, related to this rest position and some, yeah, and some bones that have some constraints, something that needs some critical retakes. So this is really causing some wreak havoc on the, especially on there, but yeah, it might be affecting the mesh there. So this is very unfortunate. Let's try to fix this. Last time I found that some of the culprit, so I need to get to the bone manner. This shouldn't take too much time, but I thought I had solved those problems, but actually it might be okay. So it's not mechanism thing. As you can see, the mechanism bone here is aligned, isn't it? No, its z-axis, yeah, is pointing downwards. It's the front, right? So this is correct, but this is totally tilted. So why it is doing that? It has a stretch 2. I see. Very interesting. Very interesting. So maybe that is the, it needs to rotate and yeah, it's not something about the pole target, because this is not in the Ike chain. This is the Ike chain for the foot, so it doesn't matter. It needs to follow the rotation. The stretch 2 is not enough for the rotation. I think there is, this is a technique that I've seen on a Pierrick tutorial. It's very different setup than what I'm doing, but there are some concept about splitting chains and this kind of stuff, and there is a combo of stretch 2 I never used for this particular case, but this might, and I don't remember to have had this kind of problem, maybe because I was not retaking the mesh, maybe because I was working on a T-pose for rest position instead of that. But since I have this happening, this distortion, so maybe the idea, so it stretches to the control knee. What is the control knee? Okay, the control knee is here. It's okay, let's get, here, yes, alright. And then the one that we're building, even though I'm not using right now. So it means this is these have the same orientation in principle of the, okay, so maybe I should target it. And the stretch to, which is the most important, I don't remember, but dump track, the y-axis, yes, the head 100%. So the question is, does this affect? No, it does nothing, because, well, it's the track axis, yes, the y-axis. I have perhaps to change this. Let's see. It doesn't seem to. What it is parented to? Parented to the hips. Okay, so it's nothing to do with that. Maybe it needs to go before it's being, oh yeah, because they no, that it makes no sense. They are, I think they can stack, so I'm just not, maybe it needs to go before, but I don't see any. It's like it's dead. Well, if I do that, it sure is doing something. And here, yeah, they seem to be disputing the, it seems to be completely inoperant. Maybe this thing is, it doesn't have any other driver, so why it doesn't answer? Yeah, maybe it's just conflicting. And this, or maybe this is not a good reference bone, a good target. No, I think it's, wait, what's happening there? Why now it is, oh, I changed the axis, of course. So if I want this bone to, oh, of course, is the, okay, maybe I'm doing it wrong, thinking incorrectly. Okay, assuming the y-axis reached there, but yeah, okay, it is doing this already because of the stretch too. So it's not perhaps dump track, and of course it's not any other. What I need to do is perhaps to it would be something like a locked track, I think, but this caused lots of problems usually. So track axis, and we don't see nothing changing. Let's see, it will be the, oh, it's disabled, but there is no difference whatsoever. Let's move it above, and it is doing something here. Okay, it's inverted. Well, this seems to be working, except it's the opposite. Let's try the x-axis. Now it is this correct? z-axis pointing forward. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so this seems to work. This is crazy. They are, because they affect the tail of the bone, right? Of the ulnar bone, in this case the deformed type bone, this one. It's both affect the tail, but in different ways. While this relates more to does that create some, let's save here, does that create some dependency cycle? Apparently not. I don't know what those information are, but they don't seem to be anyhow related to this. So apparently I was missing something critical to, at least for this binding pose state or rest position for the mesh and the deform rig. And so it was tilting wrongly the deformed bone. It was very grave, but now if I turn that off, yeah, so this is a great improvement, provide it's not causing other problems. I think not, it's just a locked track, but I should test out. Let's check. Apparently, where is the orientation? Okay, and without the lock track it gets tilted, right? So if we do the inverse, it's like useless, right? So, and it might be even causing trouble to stretch. Usually stretch 2, it's the last one, otherwise it can create some yeah, this information might not be correct, but my memory tells that there is an order that works where they don't conflict. The stretch 2 is very delicate because of original length and some stuff. It fails to work if we do not do this correctly, the order. Okay, so this one we can, now you can check some rotation developments here. So this is this amount of derotation seems good. I don't remember the original. I have the other side with original sets. So let's see the inverse here. And of course, actually I want to see it from a neutral perspective, so not the displacement. Yeah, so like I want to match this somehow. I'm using them as reference. Doesn't need to match perfectly, it's just an approximation. I can try to assess this later with, so maybe is that the rotation? Okay, that I reduced significantly, I think, and now we are going to make the redo this, so the displacement here, so it goes up as the leg bends forward, this goes up and back. So I reset. There is, I could try to do an action bone constraint for this, but this is so simple transforms that I believe it is safe. Here I've just realized that this setup might not be good, because although I'm using now that I fixed this issue, maybe I'm having easier time with the Z and X axis working like in sync, doing something that would be equivalent to moving up or down this bone. So that means that currently, let's hide all that. So I want to make this displacement from the same bone constraint. So what we have here is that on the map 2 is just a 0.4 meters, so maximum, a positive value also. This means that as the thigh rotates positively from 0 to 135, it is like 90 plus 45 degrees, so it's like it will be as the thigh reaches for this position, then it would rotation of the thigh, turn, okay, on the this is the maximum. So then I'll go X source to simplify, add, mix, add. I want to be able to still pose the bone. This bone constraint secondary is just up and down. However, the target here, yeah, the target is the same, but the owner, because this bone has a different orientation of the axis, you see it would be difficult to create a motion move down from this input oriented system. So that's why I took the custom space for the owner, instead of using the axis of the owner, these ones which are tilted here, I've used this one, which is still is oriented with world space. So it would be not world space but custom space from that bone. So that is so if the character rotates, it will still use the not, this is not world space. It means if it were world space, we rotate the characters, it works on world space. But in this case, if I rotate the root bone of the character, probably when I animate, it will rotate globally, right? So this is a cool rig trick. So custom space. Very few reference examples that use this kind of stuff. So here is it's just a switch in the axis, right? I'm taking axis from that bone, and the axis I failed to represent to understand my example with the root bone suggests that it is static but it's dynamic at the same time. It's like, because it is parented to eventually to the root bone, of course if we move a major bone, the local space are not moving of the bone, yet the bone will rotate. So so it's like, I don't know how to explain, but the basically this could be caused by other reason, I guess. Could it be that it is failing because of that? Well, we could check. No, this is this bone that is not parented yet, so we could parent it to, yeah, to this. Alright, so if what I'm saying is correct, then this should move in this direction. Well, let's give a better case. This bone should move in this direction and not in world space direction, because now the common bone, not this one, but this one is, which is here, it is tilted, but I didn't post it manually. I didn't change its local space, local coordinates, so it's still untouched, you see, on pose mode, but its axes now are pointing in that direction. If I rotate the bone, then okay, its axes are tilted, but the axis of the rest position, on local space, I mean, are still originally pointing there. So it has this memory, but this how do you say, this breaks the rule, because it's a more global. So let's check this. If I it's 0.4, let's copy that. Yeah, you see. So this is not world space, folks. If it were world space, there you go. So that's very, very different. Alright, so if we go back here, it recovers the data that was there. So good. So this was also important for me, because I could really test my idea and check that it was the case indeed. So the idea here is that it will, as the thigh rotates, bends, the leg bends upwards, forward, whatever, this bone goes slightly back and slightly up. This I maintain, it's just a y-axis, it's easy, so, but we can play with the amount. So what should we do? Let's check here. Yeah, this is a terrible volume loss. We'll have to solve this in some alternative way. I don't think it's enough just to hide this is cheating. Yeah, I don't think so. This is a problem here. We can so okay, anyway, so move back. I think it was 0.3, something like that, and then we can try to reproduce this from this. So it will be like this is not custom space, so this is the owner, so it's exactly this bone's axis from that rest position. So it would be like, it's kind of diagonal, x is inward and this is outward. Okay, so let's see, I want it to move up, so positive z on the maximum value, because the maximum from map from is also on maximum, right? If I put it negative, it means that it would go in the invert direction as the thigh rotates upward. So no, we want this, This probably helps, or maybe not. We'll check. I'll copy that. Yeah, that artifact is there, so I think this doesn't solve the artifact there. This is we'll assess in another way. So that will be 0. Let's look at these bones here, just to as a basic reference. This, however, makes the bone moves inwards, I think. Yeah. So this is not very interesting. So the x-axis, so should it go, yeah, it's tilting. We want it to go more straight up, right? So it would be maximum, but for the x-axis went that direction, slightly to that direction. Yeah, and maybe a little more up, and maybe, so this is the reason why I preferred I was using that extra bone constraint, but that can work too. So not too bad. We have all in one. It's simpler, but it's less analytical. I leave that alive, but disabled. And now for the back bending, you'll see that it does nothing here, because it just starts affecting, not from the wave painting idea. Actually, it's just one bone, so it's not two bones having different wave painting, so it's just this bone. So you see nothing is happening when I enable them, because these are only for the back bending. So as the leg go from this position to somewhat like here, until it goes there, it keeps deformed, it keeps growing on the proportion scale, ruler. It's like a ruler. So as it keeps growing until there, let's get some pose there. It is this pose, can be, yeah, that's enough. So maybe this is going too far away. So we'll start with the Y. We will, well, yeah, it's not necessary to have all that. We are going to on the other case, it was not so much. Yeah, it was just 0.3 negative. So why so much? Of course, it's a different part of anatomy. This is there's the gluteus, the buttocks, right? So this is why could be, it's another, right? Another problematic that we need to solve here. So, but maybe it gives a clue that maybe it was exaggerated because of what, and then if we start having problem elsewhere, right? So maybe we should keep it, solve it in a different way. So I'm gonna stretch it like this, and and also you can play now with the other, because if I enable that, we see this gets, okay, so 0.6 here, and then for the up and down, which we're gonna disable, we're gonna substitute this, so map 2, we have a negative 0.3 this distance, so if it's not very much, so I disable. Let's try to get the, so here is in the minimum, because the map from is minimum. So you need to have this in sync that way. Activate from 0 to no transforms to the minimum. So of course the z-axis must be positive. We see where it is pointing. Curiously, the bone has it's moving on that pose, so I don't understand. Doesn't matter. I'm solving it visually. Okay, that is okay. 0.2, and then here same thing for the x. Now the positive x, I think we want it to go, it's the opposite than the front bending, right? It's the same bone, so maybe we want a bit more positive, maybe, or not. No, that seems good enough. Yeah, that's too much. So 0.2, and here should it go more? Well, here we see a lot of the problem, right? The thigh is really displaced, right? And technically the idea is that this should go down, but maybe this is too much and we need maybe shift. Yeah, we could use some intermediate value, but I think we need something like this. So remember, I'm not moving the pivot point of the joint that rotates. I'm changing, however, the position, the location of the fan bone itself. Its rotation will keep doing the same thing because the wave paint is the same. It doesn't matter where it is. It's just being displaced, but it doesn't hold child bones or on any other. Nothing is bone constrained to it or driven by it, so it's free. We can do that. While this, if we did that displacement to this bone, that will be detrimental to everything else. So besides, it will be unnaturally changing the pivot point of the thigh, of the femur, so that's can work, but it's it doesn't sound very safe to do that. I think there would be better ways. It will be a too dramatical idea if we can just change the deforms through helper bones like this without sacrificing this. So this, I think this is smarter, a smarter move. So now, okay, let's save. I will, okay, so leave it like that, because then I still have this option to yeah, then I'll have to take this off. Yeah, it will be complicated if I want to retest this. Basically, I would myself duplicate that, hide that, and on this duplicate I will I would like just keep that one, right? This will be yeah, so I'm not doing that, so did I make some mistake here? I think, oh, there it is. Okay, so this seems correct. Just make sure I didn't reset these values here, nor for these ones. No, so okay, that's correct. So folks, we have this displacement, fake displacement, And we have a buttocks leverage bone, which we need some improvement. This is not a bendy bone, so we see that just leverage is not enough. Maybe we need this is where perhaps I could use another trick, but I'm not still there. We can solve this rig only with those transformational constraints, right? So but this would eventually it will lead to a problem when I have the diagonal position, probably. So here we have wave paint problems, and maybe I should address the wave painting. Maybe this is too much. This is better. Yes, after the change that I've made, maybe, yeah, maybe we should do something like that and smooth out later. Yeah, this we could change something here, maybe also. Not sure. This doesn't seem, from this point of view, doesn't seem. It starts on 0. Yes, actually pushing this back sounds not too bad, but it must be subtle as we smooth out. So the yeah, pushing back, it's not, pulling this back is not too bad. And to the sides, this is a bit more complicated, but yeah, maybe it should stay in place as it is. So yeah, let's leave it as it is. So the wave painting, right? And now these bones are in my way, so I want to go back to the armature. Then yeah, bone collections. Let's see. I just want to check here the bones that I want to see is just this, the pole target, and yeah, we can have the common hips also, why not? And that should do. We don't need anything else for this from this layer. I'm gonna save, deform rig, where I have the lower spine, the thigh bone and the fan bone, and also the new system that we are building here. Some mapping bones, just mechanism bones that don't do anything, just reference for now. Maybe we use them for spatial reference later, I'm not sure. So this one, okay, we've already made some automation here, but that will be like back, yeah, like a back bending of the, because we need to, actually this bone will just serve for the back bending. It won't move for, although we can, but it's delicate because it will keep moving as we, it might not be very precise there, but you'll see we're having, starting to have a good result. Starting, right, just start, at least for the back bend. Let's address wave painting here because it sounds really poor, yeah, right. Let's try to, yeah, so here's the mask. This should be enough. So if I get these waves here, this means I'm pushing the I'm pushing the critical deforms to this outer region. This is not recommended. but maybe smoothing out in that way would be required. I'm not gonna use the operator of smoothing because it will affect everything. It's dangerous. It's not for, I don't think it's for this case. So I'll try to, I need to, yeah, maybe this is better for visualization. No, I don't like it. Okay, those are real vertices apparently, so I just have a hard time wave painting them because of, I don't know, there's strain is maximum, fall off, I don't know, it just, this tool is just not smoothing too much. And maybe here this is incorrect, maybe. So let's add the maximum waves, and yeah, maybe this was something that required some retakes here. Maximum waves here, so we want stability in this area, in the middle vertices. So by smoothing the waves from the perspective of all the deformed bones that are affecting this same region, we are smoothing out the artifact, the waves, right? We are smoothing out the mesh, but of course smoothing out doesn't solve artifacts on its own. Usually those horrid artifacts can only be solved usually with different, this is the thigh bone, yeah, this requires more smoothing. So they need corrective methods, and I'm already on it, right? So you see all that is going on here. We have the fan bone, we have this awkward rest position, we have preserve volume. Many things here I do not recommend. The only thing that I recommend is the fan bone, the rotation of the fan bone, right? So we'll soon address its own wave paint, right? And the buttocks leverage bone that I'm doing here, and a belly leverage bone too, which you don't have yet. I'll just copy that bone, we'll address that later. So here this is the thigh. It can have very low waves here, maybe it's not a bad idea. On the crotch region I think it's dangerous, but if it's just very low waves, maybe it's acceptable. It's so low that we're not gonna push the bone of the thigh like so far that it will, so provided it keeps very low, it should be safe, but sometimes it's better just to avoid totally. For this case I think it's feasible to sustain very low waves there. So can we, yeah, we can so this will push or drag the generated artifacts on into the regions that I'm smoothing, so it's very dangerous to do this, because if I had control of the artifacts here, maybe now the artifact is traveling to some other region very slowly, and then so I don't know, maybe this is completely random and inadequate. Yeah, I think it's just I'm not paying attention here, so I'll just simplify this, and just as here simplifying is good, so just keep this will be the maximum influence there. And this is the type bone, so it's I'm not sure, so if all these waves are a good idea, we can check. But then we have also this other bone which should probably have very low waves. Well, it seems that the smoothing did a good job in general. You see where we need more corrective methods there. For example, we should use some belly leverage system here to subtle motion, and we need some correction here of the flesh is not, and the muscles they are, yeah, so it says we have volume loss here, so we could solve this if this bone, for example, went down, but maybe this is not the bone appropriated for that, because it contains too much waves on that area. Rotation doesn't really do, it helps, but you see it's not easy. You see it's make bad shapes there, so this is where my old system is better. Which is with bendy bone, so you have these profile curves. The only reason they don't work well by themselves is because of the artifact. Otherwise, the control they give to, you see, to shape the anatomy in motion is very good, but there is the artifacts. It's very difficult to solve the artifacts on their own, at the same time that they need to take care of the anatomical shapes. It's not the same thing. So what we're doing here, we are structuring in a rational way, so that after that this is set, we could attempt the more organic, artistic, sculptural deforms system, and then we can do whatever we want. But first I need to try to neutralize as much as possible the artifacts. So the buttocks leverage is especially, at least the way I've done, for this mechanism. This one, I say literally buttocks leverage, and maybe it could have some waves in some more waves in that inner part. Let's smooth this out because maybe it helps. Maybe more waves could be added in that part here. No, this is too much. What about that? Not sure. Yeah, because this is the artifact, and now it's that part is really hard to. A single bone may not be able to solve it. So here I'm going back to the previous problem that this part was okay, but it's not too bad, but the shapes are a bit, it's always bizarre. It's not smooth enough. I could have more subdivisions maybe, but that won't solve too much, I think. Could help, but not solve. It is just so very low waves usually this requires. Okay, yeah, we could I could stay forever trying to fix that. This yeah, then this is not good, but or maybe yes. This is why bendy bones sometimes are better, because they are sequenced, right? The bendy bone, it makes the curves easier sometimes, even though dealing with bendy bone splines makes the rig more complicated, right? Makes rigging more it adds more feature, but then we need to deal with all those features, and sometimes and they don't necessarily will solve this by themselves, but the smoothness of the wave painting is interesting. They use another skinning algorithm, so the sequence helps shaping. Otherwise I'd have maybe two of these. It's I don't like. We need to create motion for this, then the other spreading apart in other direction. The bendy bones are more reliable for this kind of thing, I think. So let's try to, yeah, I'm gonna try to do some, reduce some of the excesses that happen there, but very, very slightly, and see if I can get some improvement, since the smooth tool, this is a good strategy actually. I very low smear tool, I never done that way. That seems to be productive, provide this thing don't go the wrong way. It's inverted now for some reason. I need to do this in order to take off the waves. Don't know why that behavior happens, but this part seems to be, yeah, let's oh, this is strength, so yeah, taking off waves like that, that part. Alright, this is now this is back to blur. This part is arguable what we should do about it. Let's save, let's try to No, I think it was better before. Okay, so just blurring this. Okay, so that is the mechanism that just rotating the thigh don't solve buttocks leverages. So it is possible to work like that. I already tried. I think it was overly complicated. It adds more complications. So whenever I ended up making whenever I made a single buttocks leverage system, I ended up exchanging it for some set of bendy bone splines that would leverage the buttocks at the same time with whatever in the sequence of the bendy bone spline, whatever. So, but this time I'll consider it quite different, even though it might add complication because of stacking blended waves, which is a nightmare sometimes. Because I'm trying to play rational regarding the rig structure, having this as a basal structure to start from this condition to go to the artistic part, the sculptural part of the deformed rig. From this condition, then this might be actually a more logical strategy. A reason to make a bone like that and to analyze the problems in the rig. Analyze means separate the problems better. So I think this is good condition. And actually these deforms are actually not bad. They are kind of good. I wasn't really expecting too much yet, but yeah, you see, we don't need bendy bone splines to do this kind of solution, but it can get much better. And bendy bone splines, I think they are quite helpful. Here I'm not sure why I cannot. It's something about, yeah, more wave painting. So I don't know what's going there, that I just, maybe it's the spine. It's just some thing here that is spiky. I don't know. So not the spine, not the, oh, this maybe I wasn't touching that. The thigh we have touched, but it seems to be regular here. Doesn't seem to be the thigh. We could perhaps smooth out some stuff here. So I'll use that strategy. Well, it's doing the inverse of what I want, but those are so subtle changes that it's very hard to tell if it improved at all. And this is just one pose, there are many other poses, so that's really difficult, but we need more iterations of this to know if this is well, at least it's smoother than it was in the beginning, so this is actually good. So this one, yeah, I want to address this one. So this will address, this will address. So there's nothing else here that is in play in this mesh, I think. We can implement the Blender Studio bendy bone here for the complex joint. Maybe it brings some I have the structure, I can it is here, but no, it is where it is. Yeah, it is this. I can reuse, but this was suffered a lot, so maybe I should remake from scratch. It's simple. Okay, so here is, we're still, yeah, let's smooth out this thing. I think that will be a valuable thing here. So this is a very important corrective bone. So this must be, I must be very careful with that, because this was supposed to be very analytic, but if I'm doing this, I'm already making it way more organic, so I'm not sure. In principle, it should provide, it should still work. Ah, maybe it's that thing. Yeah, I see. Maybe that's why. It's because of the discontinuation here. So the idea perhaps would be to reduce its influence there, as I was doing. It's not required to have those. Yeah, let the thigh bone solve this. If it is working, it's fine. So, and then what I can do perhaps is just smooth this out just a little. And yeah, so apparently I've reduced the amount of influence in the continuation of the type, and this seems to be positive. Maybe I can reduce some influence here too. On that edge ring, this edge ring here. So this will smooth out even more this thing, and here maybe we need some good development here on that direction. Yeah, on that sense, because it's too abrupt. And maybe this is good. Let's see. Yeah, I think it is working. So artwork on wave paint artwork and exploration on this fan bone, actually it's interesting. It can help a lot. It's certainly, by smoothing out, I got some more overall smoothness. So this was kind of quite important. Maybe that part doesn't require these waves here, so maybe just, yeah, maybe I can do some, yeah, take off some waves here. And of course, after doing that, just blurring that interface once again. On a very small amount, because I don't want to sort of undo what I've just did. Okay, so this should be fine. Let's check now the front bending. So we don't have a belly leverage system, and I think that will be relevant. And we do not have also a side bending animation. Let's do the side bending animation, right, folks? That should be relevant. So what we do here, let's say, yeah, let's record that. So it's add the whatever this thing. Then okay, the leg went. Why the leg is going that way? It's okay. I think we can. No, I want that animation. Okay, so from here I'm going to leverage the leg here, rotate. Okay, then we continue. This is just one motion. There are more motion that can be done for that. So what amount of leg leverage do we want, right? This is interesting. And of course the combination of the leg going from, although this I can test in different ways, but this is kind of beautiful motion. But actually yeah, let's this too close. So maybe I need more animation. This is enough for a side bending if I can. It's already quite good on its own, thanks to the rest position, which I do not recommend, and other things going on. But if we check the buttocks here, you see it's not moving on its own from certain position because the leg is not bended back. So we need some other input for this, perhaps, or maybe not, I don't know. A bone here on the side, yeah, that would solve some artifacts there. This bone here, I don't have this system. You see that, okay, it shouldn't go inside, it should go sort of spreading. Okay, this is logical. So y-axis, it should go to the side, and this is more difficult to tell, I think. Yeah, maybe just y-axis. So let's reset, whatever. No. Master leg. No, it's just the master leg. So there's no pose for this bone. It was just my mistake. So here I would like to get this leg like doing some diagonal motion, something like that. And as if it was not enough, then I want to the same here, even if it doesn't go back to the total. No. Even if it doesn't go back to the center, it doesn't matter. I just want the diagonal, and then it can go back. So yeah. And through these actions, I think I should have enough reference. So right, not sure if I should keep that. All right, let's turn this off. It's simple, but it's enough for what I want to do. So let's create another bone now that will serve as a belly leverage mechanism. So it will be just same bone here, except that it is belly left, and yeah, its position doesn't matter. Yeah, it's something like that. The starting position, I don't know, could be, I'll try to, because there are two legs, probably this is good to be a left and right one, two. So I don't really know where should be the, it doesn't totally matter, I think. So it has got bone constraints, I think, already. Yeah, because I've duplicated that. But what the bone, it doesn't have wave painting, so let's do the front left. Okay, so now we're gonna invert the thing here. We're gonna pick this value, but it's here, but it's a positive, and this will be 0. So I'm just mimicking the, wait, okay, of course it's still copying wrong data. The map from is done, but the its rotation and location, of course these values are useless. We need to, so I know it's on the maximum. So without wave painting it's not possible. Oh, let's save that. Okay, without wave painting it's hard to tell, right, which amount of motion I want for this. So let's address this right now. Start to add some ways here. Just as the buttocks leverage bone, there's not too many waves that we need. It's probably around this color should be enough, and we want probably to reach upper parts here, and the crotch area might be important for this slightly, not too much, and then it probably doesn't need to leverage the buttocks because it's for the front. So it should not have too much waves from the center, because they want to, well, that maybe doesn't matter. We need to check the output to know what is. So let's do some change here. That region here, maybe the crotch, maybe, yeah, not this. I think this is bad. We can check the animation for, yeah, there's interpenetration, so here is will be a bit difficult. Okay, let's assume this could be sufficient. Yeah, I think here we might want to spread this skin apart from the, yeah, getting closer to the joint. So in a case like that, we can try this temporarily. So we can try to wave paint this part a little better. And yes, I think it should include this, but that's the last one. If it's a mistake, we already know how to take that off. So at this point, it's about blurring, because I think there's too much already. This is maybe too much. Maybe this last one, I don't know. And this technique also yeah, let's move this. And actually that part is not working, so let's just reduce the amount of waves there with control, so that's subtracting. And then reblurring from this spot that has larger waves, stronger waves. Yeah. Okay, so we need to reset this craziness. Okay. And of course the belly leverage, I could check this. So this is what it's supposed to do, folks. So it's not a crotch bone, so just as the buttocks leverage is not exactly to solve the crotch area, which could be a crotch bone indeed, or it might be another mechanism, it depends, and that could be helped with the generic bendy bone, for which there's a tutorial for this, and yeah, it can be a bendy bone. It could be a regular bone that has some sort of proportional posing regarding the legs. Yes, that could be. So I'd be using that tutorial as a reference for that middle bone. So it's not safe to make this the crotch waves, because it adds too much. It's another region of the body that needs special tweaks sometimes, and okay, so now it can have some, yeah, eventually it's good that but it doesn't need to do it. Another bone might be better suited for the task. Otherwise it can, if we try to get a lot of stuff in the same bone, in a complex region like that, this is where things start to get problematic, because it needs more analysis to work properly. It's just more complicated than but sometimes it works, sometimes it's a good idea, but we lose analytic power, and that uh, that would eventually cause situations where, oh, I cannot move this bone now, because if I move in that direction, that other part, for example the crotch, it gets deformed in a bad way, because it is depending on the same bone. So that's why we try to, it's a good idea to make, yeah, so we could imagine that perhaps, oh, it's good to have this mesh on the same bone. No, because the mechanism of the buttocks, the anatomy of the buttocks and the anatomy of the belly, in what they require for making rigging, organic rigging, at least in Blender, requires this split of functionalities. So it's a very specific problem, because the algorithm, it's dumb, it doesn't know anatomy. So it wasn't meant to solve anatomy problematics directly, the algorithms that so we have to find ways to make the algorithm work for different cases, right? So the crotch is very bad here with this curve. It's just something that is happening to the, that we need a new solution. So let's give this bone the bone constraint, right? It has already, so I just need that one. So okay, so it's already dependent on the positive rotation of the type. So as the types rotates up, we can even change this animation, folks. We could get this type to move from here. Oh, this is the maximum. Okay, so we could, wait, I'm confused. Yeah, this is the maximum, so let me go exactly on there. Yeah, let's just bring this up even more and towards the center, something like that. Okay, this let me give some more distance here too, so it goes slowly. Yeah, maybe even slowly or something like that, and then it goes down faster. All right, turn off, save, deselect the keyframes. So we don't have good visibility from this side, so we go here. Let's see if this can help anyhow. It should usually this I've decided to make belly leverage system just as I've decided to make belly buttocks leverage helper bone. So it's not the belly leverage system is questionable. The buttocks leverage system is necessary. Yeah, it's but if we check people, could be oneself in the mirror, right, or videos, whatever, we see that the buttocks certainly engage in leverage system. The belly is more subtle. If it moves at all as the leg moves up, it's just more a circumstance of the of what's happening in the 3D model. Of course there is some lever, but it's very subtle. It's like, so we can get this. So this is, yeah, okay, this is good. So we have a positive. You see, if got too much, it's already bad. So it's subtle stuff. So I like that amount. And so it helps very slightly, but of course there's more to do. We can also push it back, and this will reduce the interpenetration, even though it's not very anatomically correct. The other way, of course, so this shouldn't be a value going back, going on the positive, right? Because y positive should be very, very subtle. So this should be more up, I think, and that should be very slight. So the other thing that needs to flesh out properly is the leg and the joint. Yeah, the joints and the leg. So it's something that this is where this other system is actually very good. Not very good, it's good. Not this one. This one. Because then I have, you see that the loop goes even inside, so in the inner area of the thigh near the joint. So I can control the mesh of the thigh and of the joint, especially of the, yeah, from even that critical situation there where the mesh are interpenetrating. So it's very hard to visualize what's going on. Yeah, we can use X-ray, whatever, but it's still difficult, right? And so by manipulating the joint with this stuff, we can sort of approximate the solving of that thing in an easier way. So just the buttocks lever, the belly leverage doesn't do that, because it doesn't really affect to the thigh. So, but it's a corrective method for a small area, a small region. That makes sense, right? At least this, not too bad. Maybe it's going up too much, right? So we can reduce this to, it's very subtle, right? So even that thing of it going back, maybe it's, wait, actually it's moving forward. This is wrong. Is it? Oh, I put it in the wrong place. It should be here, folks. So it was going wrong. So yeah, we don't need to go in this direction. It's max, it's always, so yeah, sorry folks, little mistake. So now it reduced the interpenetration, but maybe it's going back too much, right? So we can do that. Yeah, I like this at 0.6 maybe. Yeah, so it goes up more than it goes back. And maybe, yeah, it is acceptable. I'm feeling like this can be exaggerated. There's a limit. It depends on the waves that we put there, right? So let's try this. Yeah, this is big deform. So but yeah, it can hold up to a provided nostril doesn't deform too much. Yeah, this is elastically good, I think. So yes, so this is another of this bone solved. Let's try, maybe I undo this later. We're gonna make a crotch bone. The problem here, oh no, the tutorial have a solution. So this will be a centralized bone, crotch. So no left and right, it's in the middle. I want it to be, yeah, so we got here, and what we, yeah, we can move it directly there. It could be exactly in a, could be inside, it doesn't matter. Yeah, the position is not really important. It's not a profile bendy bone spline, so that should be enough. Let's see. This X-ray is not helping. It's like I'm missing some feature for the X-ray. Oh, I've moved it on pose mode, so yeah, that is okay. So what we do with that, parenting is there. Bone constraint, this will be different. I'm not gonna use the armature deform. I have another method that can be employed, but maybe it's not so simple. I don't remember how it was done the other was. Armature deform, modify. It had to do with some motion, right? So like proportional posing, right? So if I consider what is proportional posing, so it means having is it from the tail? Yes. Okay, I think I got it. So copy transforms, proportional posing system, local space on orientation, local space, before original, yeah, let's let, then tail, no, yeah, so it will be somewhere tracking, not from the head, it could be from the head, I think. No, the head is static, so it will be from some position that starts moving, right? So this is arbitrary, but better not be too far away. So, and yeah, this will cause already some copy transforms. No, it's not copy transforms. This rotation is not welcomed. Yeah, probably not. So instead just copy location with the same settings, and it yeah, we cannot touch it, alright, but we could change the influence, right? Why it is not copying the, okay, so we'll do this, and yeah, we could do maximum and then change the, I don't think this is a good idea, but we could do this and just reduce the influence. That could work too, but if it has, but we should be very careful about the amount of waves it got. Yeah, so otherwise it would really cause very bizarre results. So we have this. Let's consider if we have the type here. We need to check the other type. Well, I don't need to see the other type, so just duplicate that. Just change that, and there we go. So now it should move if I, yeah, and it will also move if I move the other type as well. And let's go back here. Okay, let's turn this off. So yeah, it's a proportional posing. We don't see the other, but yeah, let's demonstrate that it works for science sake. I need these controllers. Of course, we're not seeing it right now, but new. There we go. There we go. So if I were to, of course, this could cause problem if the influence is too large and need some tests. What if I put both legs up? Then it means it's going up twice, right? So this is could be problematic, but otherwise on the, you see, it's now it goes more to the left, then okay, it's centralized, so it is working, right? So what I could do, however, is just to perhaps give this value, I don't know, 0.5 and that one 0.5, so it's even smoother, subtle, right? And maybe even less. Okay, so that should do. Let's save. And so we need just to show again, yeah, this time I'm gonna keep this foot just to, because maybe I want to keep testing that, so keep that foot and that one, then the command hits and this one, and that's it. And hide, then we go for the deform, and then we go for the new. So I have belly left, buttocks, and crotch. We could have a crotch left and crotch right, but I think this is an optimal. The belly, it could be, but the problem is that if it's symmetric, as one leg moves up, it's like, yeah, it's similar to the crotch, but I think it's more like the buttocks. If one leg moves up, because this is a central part, right? Even though there is lateral crotch, but it's too close by. While the belly and the buttocks have the whole gluteus muscles on one side, and they can be very different from the other side depending of what happens to the body. The belly is not that much the same thing, but yeah, we could, it's easier to conceive than the crotch. So I don't think we need a I think I've already tried to make a, maybe not, but the a central belly. I think it's, yeah, then it doesn't solve if we rotate the bone, because it will rotate the whole mesh of the belly. It could create strange results. So this is why. So you have here starting to make sense, right? And we don't have wave painting for the crotch bone, so let's try to address that. And hold on, folks. So here I'm not sure, because this is some I don't have too much experience on that, on the crotch rigging. I just know that sometimes you don't even need crotch bone for advanced rig. Other parts will solve it. But it's an interesting concept to have a crotch bone. So I because I'm not very familiar with it, I'm not sure here exactly what should I do. So I'm gonna just, yeah, this, why I have this waves here, this is not crotch area. So this could work. Okay, so this will be blurred, so it will be below. We don't want too much waves on the joint, right? So maybe we can get this and this very low, so shared blended waves like that, but that's about it. We don't want too much invasion there. And for the, what would be the butt crack, I don't know, it's not very good modeled, well modeled here. Maybe I need some other subdivision, I don't know. This looks like we would need, I'm not sure, I think the crotch area shouldn't include too much of this part, or maybe it should, so maybe I should test it out. So let's try to, but even if it does include this area, it will be very subtle, so maybe under more to the bottom area, right? So something like this, and here we could have a bit more influence here, and then some blended waves around this edge ring here, yeah. And then we should add a little more of waves here, probably. This amount, this is adding to the infinite, yeah, to 1, so it's not good. I will need to, let's go on mix. So now this won't add beyond a certain value. So this is probably, here I must be careful because it's too close to the gluteus and to the thigh. I don't know why that was painted. I'm not on auto normalize. I never used that, and I think that's a glitch now recently on Blender 4.0.2. So now I need, for some reason, remove that. No, I'm not on projected. So I've seen some strange things happening in wave paint since I'm using Blender It's like it crossed the mesh. It's strange. Anyways, is it possible that Mix is doing that? No. So again, this is not crotch area, so I kind of need to take off some waves here. Mistaken waves. So let's blur that. This is probably wrong. Too much waves here. Here we can probably reduce, so it's more the bottom area. Here is too much. This part is better for blurring. Let's save here. I think these can be... This one is a good bone for... No, not a good candidate for blurring. It will invade this area. So I could use a mask, right? To then need to make a new selection. But this is going well. I think this is enough. Let's try out on the deform. Very subtle, very gentle. Yeah, it's not doing a good job there. I think it requires something else that I'm not aware of. Yeah, it's pushing the mesh down because of the bone constraint that I've made. So actually, I need to have a starting condition that is neutral, or have the waves of it. Yeah, so yeah, maybe it shouldn't try to reach. This is too much, so again we change this and change this. So the waves are too strong, so it's like alright, so that works. It's a bone that I can still move thanks to the local space owner orientation, local space and both. So maybe it can be still bone constrained to something else. Let's say it's moving, slightly moving back. It has some. What if we 0.1? This will just bring back the problem, right? Because yeah, so that's fine. I think it's that's why I mentioned it's not my specialty, but I'm learning, so I think this can work as an automation. Maybe it could take waves from the joint. This will be experimental, but I have another. There is this idea that so what we still have to solve here, if I were to complete this rig from this thing, there is volume loss here, or some change, whatever, in the mesh that, well, in part is because of the motion that exists here. This moved up for some correction, and then what it happened is that, of course, it was not very positive for the volume of the buttocks that should keep some. So Maybe I moved that up too much to start with, so let's try to just reorganize this. So basically, wait, what motion is that? Okay, so I'm trying to neutralize the excessive, no, not this one. Actually, this is good, alright. Trying to bring it back to the origin, which is close to the joint. Yeah, but you see, then the mesh isn't very good if we... Yeah, so it's like, it's difficult to solve everything. So the idea would be like, okay, assuming we can keep that. Okay, it will stay on a distance, but then we need to improve the buttocks there, but we cannot use this. So I need to regain volume here in some way, even if this moved up. So this moved down, which is the crotch, so it doesn't, or it moved up. Moved up, okay. But it doesn't affect that anyway, so we don't care. We need some structure here, and so this is one important thing, solving this volume loss. It will be even worse without preserved volume. Yeah, not too bad. But this is nearly the same problem here. This is easy to solve, more or less. It's simpler. This is much harder to solve because this is on the joint, really on the joint, while this is an exterior, most like an exterior part. We could call that joint, but here it's like, yeah, at some point there is joint here too, but we want, so this part is harder because of the contact, the interpenetration, and so we need to solve that. You see how much of the back of the type would be lacking here, and we need to solve this. And it's not because I've moved this bone that, well, in part it is, but moving this kind of helps solving some of the worst effect, which is the volume loss here. So you see that this was analytical, but it's not enough, but it creates some drawbacks. So strangely enough, it's not moving down. No, moving down is bad. Could it be that I've inverted the thing? It doesn't look good, but folks, there's a chance that I've inverted this thing again. Maybe I'm mixing up concepts. Well, the type itself looks good if we not consider that, because the idea of moving up is perhaps thinking about the belly, not necessarily the thigh. But if that was true, then this will be the inverse. So instead of this moving down, which seems it would need to move up, and it makes no, this would, okay, this, sorry, I'm a bit tired already, but this moves down and this moves up, so the invert of what I'm doing, why would that thing move up? because no, I need to revise something, but I think it is correct currently. It's just that this mesh, we can solve it with other systems. So now the real problem that is here is that the joint, but regarding, it's still artifact stuff, but it's about volume on some circular region. We could solve it perhaps with a single bendy bone spline, which is intriguing, this idea. Let's see. It's a wild range of problem, but it might still be feasible with one. So you need something that maybe start from the front here, not need to go that far perhaps, and then it would go inwards until it's like nearly half. It would be a bendy bone splines, half the thigh. This sounds feasible. They made a correction on the deformed bones. I mean the deforms of bendy bone splines. So this would be a bendy bone spline that would, just as I have here, it starts rotated. They start bended already. But before we do that, no, we can, let's do that before. Then I assess the other idea. So I could just copy paste, right? Yeah, let's do that. Let's copy paste something here. So I can reuse this one. So I'm gonna, it's very useful to copy paste bendy bone spline. So pick that. Then we move this thing to new, and then I do this again, take it off from this, and it's not here anymore. Can hide, and it's on new now, right? Let's change the names here because this is chaotic. Let's see, this will be control inner thigh, thigh joint inner, and no, it's just one. There's no such. The start handle. How do well, it's a control bone, whatever. That's it. So 001, and this will be 002. Keep one, it becomes 2, and this will be just that. And so now too many bones showing here. I can hide some stuff. Let's use this. So now I could probably get this bone and try to snap it to some face, include non-edited. So let's snap it to, this needs certain precision. Bro, it's everywhere. Hello, welcome. Bro, I'm getting a rag, I busted. Sorry, I don't catch the idea. Can you explain? Can you express differently? I don't know what's the meaning of rag in English. Is it snapping? Oh no, I need to use control because this is disabled. Okay. Okay, I've just snapped this. Doesn't need to be exact. Actually, let's bring it more here, alright. Then we pick this. We're gonna snap it to the vertex of the, now it's dangerous because take this off, so it will snap to that. And now we start moving this, we disconnect. We want to bring it to, whatever, somewhere like until we can check from the side view. So something like here. Now I snap to face. It is snapping, I think. Oh, it's not included. So, bro, I'm gunning to your stream. I'm a goon. Are you a nedger or a gunner? I'm low-key a freak. I don't know. It's a goon. I think perhaps now well, dude, I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm just gonna ignore. Okay, folks, so here, let's continue here to this stuff. This was joined to the face, yes, okay, this doesn't need to be perfect. Then here, then because there's our bendy bone splines, we need to address the having only one spline to all this rotation is dangerous, folks. So this means that we need to get this thing into this will be a condition where two splines will be good, would be better here. Otherwise, you see how the segments they get, and this is not about getting tons of segments. And so having more segments slightly help in anything related to bended bones here. They'll still be with all this spacing, right? So let's get a 12 just to check if that can help, but usually so far I've checked it makes little difference. So I'm trying nonetheless to do this with just one bendy bone spline. What matters, however, is this orientation. Well, the bendy bone has got No, it's tilted, so let's align here first, and then let's see the role of this. Well, it needs to have so if I reset the role, it really seems to be a negative role that does this. Then we align here. Otherwise the Benny bows, they don't work well. Okay, you're spamming the chat and being disrespectful, so you should stop this. Let's see something here. I don't have time for this kind of behavior. You're the first person that is looking for attention in a negative way, you know. So sorry, but that's a fact. If you have something to talk about rigging or 3D characters, whatever, that makes sense, then this is the time to use the chat for this kind of stuff, right? Alright, so let's continue here. Yeah, okay. Alright, so again, vertex here, and then yes, and this should be a bit more to this direction here. Yeah, no snapping now. And this rotation should keep going on negative. It's following negatively, so from the other. Usually I make the z-axis pointing outwards from the mesh for a question of simplicity and organization. So it just rolled a little more, or a little less actually, from the negative to a lesser number. So here we got the condition that should be enough for having results of manipulating this spline along this thing, but it might be difficult. Oh, and also they have bone constraints. Let's delete all that. So as from older setup, and this we just reset. This reset, it's all reset. So here is, they are not moving. I think they are not. Yes, this is parented, this is parented. They are parented both to the oh, they have a wrong parent. Alright, we need to change this on. So you need to select a where it is of the control rig. We need this one. Yeah, we'll parent to that. We could parent this to the thigh, but I think this could cause problems to the Let's try that. This could cause artifacts to that region, because the base of the of the bendy bone, although it would be on spline skinning method, would still be rotating along the thigh. So with this parenting, the bendy bone is parented to that first one. So as we see here, this is what will happen. And why this seems displaced, I don't understand. Let's reset. Oh, it's just a reset thing. Okay, so here I'm afraid that this motion could cause artifacts on the bendy bone. We can verify this perhaps, but this rotation is interesting. It's like logical. It's a logical thing to do to start with. Otherwise this thing will be hold in place, right? So this is actually the, but it's very complicated. Let's see how I did the other rig actually. Basically it is the old two. These bones, they are parented to the, they are parent to the tweak. Wait, disabled property was having. Okay, no, this is just a message, doesn't matter. So here we got this parented to the tweak, which in its place it's parent to the common hips. And oh, okay, so all the transforms of these bones here, they are dependent. Yeah, that's why they get all awkward. The way they rotate is more from inputs and some corrective methods. So it's not like they are following strictly. They are following in arbitrary ways the thigh. Yeah, so the shapes they get, as you see how strange the shapes get of the bones, right? So what I did here is completely different. I've parented that partial spline and to the, yes, thanks for taking off some, delete some messages. So here the idea would be for okay, let's try to see if something really weird happens here. We'll realize that it's unfeasible, that you cannot give this parenting. So so far this wave paint doesn't do nothing. Maybe these waves can be quite strong. Maybe it's really, we want this to be affecting maybe less on that part, the bottom, the back part of the thigh, but yeah, and it can have some low waves. Yeah, let's enclosure that thing here. Just smoothing out should be good enough. Then yes, okay, so this, let's blur that. Yeah, take off some of this. Okay, so let's see what does this do. So currently These are just bones that are... It doesn't seem to be doing nothing. Perhaps because its local coordinates are not moving at all through parenting, and so it does nothing to the mesh. It's like completely neutral right now. It's just affected the ratios, but it's not... The bones themselves are not moving yet. Although if I turn this off, the property here, deform property, that means that... Oh, it's actually turned off. Okay, this is why nothing was happening. Let's see if... yeah, but still probably nothing will happen. Okay, something happens, but it's very subtle. And so this suggests to me that this is not causing, by these wild rotations, it's not causing anything, any artifact, whatever. So this is sounds safe, but now we need to work on how these bones they move. And for this we can just immediately try that. Let's take, for example, this pose here, and let's try to... I see I don't have enough waves to handle these deforms. You see, I don't have much control, so it takes a lot to push or to control this. So this is not adequate. We need more waves. While here, if I get a side view, same thing. You see, I need a lot. We could have more waves there also on that region. Yeah, so this bone, bendy bone, must get more waves in, below the type, so we can have more smoothness, for example, here. And yeah, so more waves for this bone. So there's one thing I didn't check, is the rotations. This is a profile bendy bone spline, and it seems to be quite... It's doing what it should do, and it's just doing it very slightly. So it's nearly useless currently, but it is certainly promising. Yeah, I know. I've made this regard. I know what I'm talking about. This will going to be useful, but we need to address the waves here. These waves are too much. Yeah, this needs red, because this is like... there are too many blended waves already here. This needs to take off lots of waves from other bones that are affecting this mesh, like even the fan bone, right? But the functionality of this bone here is different from the fan bone. So this one, the fan bone. So this is and we cannot just take off waves from the fan bone, because then the fan bone will stop affecting the mesh as it should in a more regular way. So we need really to have blended waves and stack these waves, but each bone needs to have its proper own wave painting set correctly, like as if it were absolute, but it's not. So this is complicated also, because as the other bones, such as this one, starts to lose wave on this mesh, it might start to get less good results, worse results for what it was supposed to do. So this is why blended waves start to become problematic at some point, because the ratios are not infinite, right? But we can move the bone indefinitely, that's true, but then it means that the bone should be totally offset in the case of locations in order to do the deforms it would be supposed to do. So it's, and this for just for certain vertices that were wave painted, because each vertex have different, might have different, usually different ratio, and may be affected by 1, 2 or many more bones. So it really gets complicated. So all right, so why this area here? Okay, I see. This is to have control over this. All right, so okay, then I was telling that I want more influence on this part, and this might be even go towards that region. Yeah, so let's get all the loop around here on the blue spectrum of wave paint. So that should do. Let's save here. Let's add stuff here and blend more that part here, and then this, so we are expanding a little, and this should be enough for testing if this thing, this profile bendy bone spline single one from the inner part has any good quality for our rig. So let's see. If I turn this off, okay, so I don't see any artifacts being generated by this, so this is actually safe to use. Okay, this is strange to me, but it makes sense. I think is a parenting relation doesn't make this this is not really rotating. That's the fact. It is rotating, but it's not the rotation of this object, this structure, this rig is not making the deforms to be affected. The only thing that is causing is ratio changes, right? So this is very, very important concept. Actually, this is one of the most intriguing things that we can do with rigging that is underrated in terms of conceptual theoretical explanation. We can do a lot of things thanks to this property of bones, like it can be useful for mount rigging, for example. Okay, so what I need here is the automation, but let's test. Okay, see, aha, so now we have power on to develop these shapes. Here still maybe there are competing waves here, but the fact is that, hold on, let's see, yeah, so you see the mesh doesn't follow. This is normal, the waves are blended, it doesn't have one waves on the vertex here. It doesn't have that part, so that's why it delays. So it's normal. It's annoying, but that's how would I give 100 waves for this bone there, right? We could think, of course. The problem is that I'm having to solve the artifacts generated by rotation of deformed bones that contain blended waves. So basically all this because I'm trying to counter the interaction between this and this bone. So on the very complex joint anatomy speaking, so hips thigh joint, so it's very, very complicated to, I don't think we can avoid this interconnection in a constructive way. I've tried, yeah. For example, if we don't if we don't blend waves, we can avoid the artifacts. This is crazy. But then this means that there would be parts of the mesh that would be disconnected and they would need to be smoothed out or moved in according to the different bones, right? Deformed bones in sync. Wave paint tries to do this, right? Armature deformed tries to do this by blended waves, but then the blended waves will cause the artifacts, generate artifacts. So otherwise I could have 100% here, 100%, and control all the vertices as they were points in space, like, yeah. So that it makes sense, but then the problem is when we want to blend those things together, because at some point we want some automation for blending, for mixing stuff. So here you see I can solve the interpenetration, even though it looks very awkward how the bone stays, but this is the power of profile bendy bone splines. Pixar, they would call that, I think, or something like that, right? Well, but there is some crazy thing that it is not solved. This is accident. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, it's artifacts not solved. I don't want to cheat, so I'm not hiding the problem here. I need to solve that. Maybe it's wave paint. Maybe this bone shouldn't have lost so much waves from to this. Maybe it's the positioning of something that I've done. And so this is why this part is a bit delicate. Maybe or maybe this rotation is causing the artifact. We don't see it very well here, but of course the problem is that we don't see the joint here because of all that interpenetrate. So I think this is I should continue, but in another session. But we're making progress. I need to assess that thing, because we are already trying to, we're about to solve this thing, and then the buttocks leverage we kind of solved. Then this we were about to solve, needed more efforts there. And then there is this huge problem that is kind of hidden, that the texture here isn't really helping to visualize what's happening, unfortunately. But you see here, it seems to be more or less fine. But yeah, it's because this rotation is really high, but yeah, there we go. So we can spot the artifact. So let's turn this off. So yes, maybe as I suspected, I'm not sure that the rotation is causing it, but what I think could be the case is that because it took waves from other bones, especially this one, to have this red means to take like a lot of shared waves from this one, and this means that this area that I wave paint here, yeah, now this corrective armature deformed bone that is essential is losing its corrective influence there. That's probably, you see, that's probably what's happening. So this is a critical problem. So this suggests the following, folks. The way to affect the mesh on top of that without competing with more waves would be corrective shape keys. It's unfortunate because I haven't finished but it's really, and this is something what I've just observed and described is something that I wasn't really totally aware when I did this rig here. So it's like these bones that has these waves, okay, they are not active right now. They are not being deformed bones right now. Yeah, you see, they are disabled on their deformed properties, so I can sort of start from scratch, right? What I was doing. They are countering the correct. They are disrupting partially the corrective, the most important corrective, fundamental corrective bone that is there. So this means that the idea, I need to reconceive the structure. The joint there, that is the critical joint, the critical mesh, it must not be the waves that are there should not be taken off from this deformed bone through other deformed bones through that needs to change that area. So that means that the buttocks leverage system, if we take a minute to analyze stuff, hold on, deform, okay, and new, right? So there's big difference. Let's check. You see, these waves don't take much weight from that critical area, the buttocks leverage system. So this is clean. The crotch area also not, although it could, but it can be dangerous. And the belly leverage system also not. So what makes that this bone, of course this bone alone cannot solve all the problems. It's just one bone, it cannot move one vertex in one way, another vertex in another way. So and if we split this bone into multiple bones, which could be, so we can have them share the weight, but like one with tons of weight in the bottom and tons of weight on the top. So this goes back to the idea that the fan bone system I've seen from image resource, it can have multiple ones. It looks like a fan, like a star, bones going all direction. And maybe now it makes sense why this is. So that's a quite advanced idea. I wasn't aware of that. Wow, so is that the case? Because I didn't understand. I understand this one, the simplest case. But then, why would you have multiple on the same joint if this one can cancel? Can derotate on all direction all at once, right? It derotates. However this bone rotates in all directions, this will derotate in the same amount on all directions thanks to copy rotation, inverted and influence. So, but now I found the problem, another problem. We want to reshape those parts. We don't want to take waves from this bone, but then we can make this bone into multiple bones that won't be competing exactly on their blended waves, shared waves. And so this means that if a version of this bone below, without interfering with its mesh, it's correcting the artifact because of the similar rotations maybe in relation to this, and at the same time is free to move in its own way. Wow, this is totally brutal. So totally brutal. So yes, could I make this now another level problem or question? What if I made this fan bone into a bendy bone spline or multiple bendy bone splines that at the same time derotate this? So instead of a regular bone, it works as a bendy bone, profile bendy bone spline. So I still have this kind of. So there's the rotation that they might theoretically maybe can solve, and then they are all around, but they do not share waves. So this will be really just as I've made here, and at the same time they stack functionality here. So one reason it might have been that I wasn't satisfied with that, besides the automation, it's a mess. It works, but it's a mess, that I wanted simplification. There is this problem of that I wasn't really totally aware of how dramatical. So I was still needing to counter the artifact in the process. Alright folks, with this insight, I probably need to take rest now, and perhaps you too. So I need to consider now the fan bone into a system of fan bones, but I'm more inclined to experiment with fan bone profile bendy bone splines, which is like stacking together two different concepts. If that works the way I'm thinking, then this will be perhaps the best way to rig this kind of complex joint, at least for the pelvis rigging. And then of course these bones, yeah, they are okay, right? We can count of them. crotch bone, buttocks bone, belly bone, that just do some basic motions there. That's fine. But then this is the critical part, and I think I have a solution now. But I don't have the energy to continue now. So thanks for watching, folks. Hope that was inspiring and interesting. I hope tomorrow I'll be back, but this week probably anyways, and I'll be continuing on this project here, except that now I will have to change these tasks here. So let's see. Yeah, I'll make that later. So thanks for watching, folks. Take care and happy blending as usual. See you next time on this week. I hope one of the days. Bye, folks.